right, we're back with more Game of the Year 2022 deliberations. This round is actually not about games at all, but some of the stuff that you use to play games on or help you play games or enhance the whole gaming experience. And that is best hardware. So, without further ado, I think we should just dive into it. What do y'all say? Great.
Here.
Let's get going. All right. What are our nominations this year? Who would like to nominate a thing for best hardware? Does anyone have a nomination?
Yes.
Kick us off.
Cool.
Or go ahead.
I like the 490. The RTX 490 is insane. That card is so huge and powerful, and I just thought it was really cool that it released this year. And I was a little bit mad because I bought the 390 2 years ago, or like a year and a half ago, and it's the same price. But still, like the fact that Nvidia is cranking these cards out, and you can actually get them now, is nice. So people can have a lot.
Yeah,
of power.
Greg. I thought that was a 4090 on your wall, and then I see that's a Dora. That's my bad. But that card,
right. It's like huge. You're just like, how do I
Yeah.
put it in? You're like, oh, just get this spacer expansion, get this gigantic
Right.
tower.
Right.
Greg, did you plug in your 4090 correctly so that it wouldn't melt your PC though?
No, but like I made sure to have
Okay.
like a thing that helps it like the weight. Like you install it so it helps the weight
Jeez.
distribution.
The counterbalance.
Like brace. Yeah, you have like a load bearing
Yeah.
brace. Okay. That's
It
hilarious. I
comes
appreciate
with
it.
comes with like a little team of medieval trebuchet men to help you like balance it.
Basically, it's so cool. Like so much stuff is using the GPU now, like not just on the gaming side, but on like the professional side, and so like everything just screams like so fast. It renders fast, it outputs fast, it can preview stuff faster. Like it's just everything is just about it fast. Like all technology, when it gets better, it just gets faster and bigger. It's supposed to be smaller, but I guess bigger in this case.
So, so you're noticing the difference, basically.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
there's a big difference between that and the 3090, even.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, has
The
it
benchmark
like
test on Premiere? It's like almost like I think it's not twice the speed, but it's pretty close. I think it's like 75% faster in rendering and outputting than the 390.
As a self-proclaimed genius that purchased a 3080 Ti about 6 or 7 months ago when they were incredibly hard to find and overpriced, I have heard good things about the 4090 and how it's a pretty drastic jump. I think my buddy has one, and he was saying that it's like the biggest jump in terms of like one graphic card to the next that he's had in a little while. So it's, a fairly noticeable difference. But not that I'm bitter that I bought a 3080 Ti at double the price it is right now, a couple months before the 4090. But
Well, all right. Sounds like a pretty fancy graphics card. Does anyone else want to nominate a thing?
Yeah, I will. I nominated the Vitrix Pro FS12. So like that it's a fight stick, but not like a stick. Actually, it's Vitrix's take on the hitbox, and that platform has been so fun to learn this ever since I left Evo 2022. That thing has been so incredibly fun to play on, so fun to learn. It's a 12 button setup, so like 8 buttons for X, O, square, triangle, R1, L1, R2, L2, and then you got your directional buttons. The thing that impressed me most about it is like I'm a customization person when it comes to that stuff, and so one of the first things I did was buy some custom buttons to swap out with what I had, and being able to get inside that thing is super easy. It's got like a trap door on the bottom of it, and then being able to, you don't need to be like an electrician to like de-wire it and disconnect the buttons and then swap out the stuff that you want. And I love that. And I know a lot of people out there love that stuff. Victrix also supports their product very well. They do the etching on it, and you can customize it even further. They added a PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and PC switch to this one, so you can move between platforms super easily. which is a really valuable thing, especially in this era right now where fighting games on PC are becoming so much more popular than they were maybe even 2 years ago. That is a super boon to have just a Switch like that where you can just move over platform to platform seamlessly. Uh, I love the build of it. I love the layout of it. I love the function of it. I love the customizability of it. It's probably one of my favorite things to happen to fighting game controllers in a long time.
The TJ,
Nice.
that Vitrix one, did they make other one? Like, I know I've seen those other ones before, but they're usually custom. Is this like the first time a major brand has like mass produced the buttons instead of the joystick for the fight stick?
Hitbox has been doing it for a long time. This is one of the first times I've seen somebody make a high quality comparable thing to what Hitbox is doing.
What I'm curious, what's like the big difference, and why do people prefer hitbox over like traditional like joysticks?
You can do things with directional movements on a all button controller that you can't do on a stick. It's particularly valuable to charge characters like Guile or E Honda, because what you can do is you can queue up their charge direction while also being able to hit forward and up or other directions and keep your thumb on that charge button and then be able to launch a sonic boom or E Honda's charging strike whenever you
Hmm.
feel like it. That is
Sounds.
highly valuable.
I might need to borrow that the next time I face off against David.
I'm saying I knew I was going to bring it up, but you got there first. I appreciate that, Blake. You've been
Yeah.
running for over a year. We got to settle this with the Vitrix fight sticks. That's what I say.
Okay. I don't know. It sounds like my E Honda's about to become OP. That's all, David,
Yeah.
which you should probably be afraid of.
Well, that might give you the edge you need to beat my Guile then, Blake. So that's all right.
Ha! Again. All right. We'll see. We'll see. Let's do it. I think we might have at least one more nomination in this category. I think some folks had stuff they wanted to throw out there. Who would like to go next?
I know that the Steam Deck for me this year has, and I love Nintendo. I'm looking forward to the Super Nintendo Switch, which is what I really hope they call the upgrade when it comes out. But I feel like the Steam Deck came along this year and is doing for handheld consoles what people were hoping the Switch upgrade would do. And I think Morgan could probably speak to that better than I could.
Yeah, so I nominated the Steam Deck. Um, I mean, it's pretty cool. It's a great way to take your entire Steam library with you everywhere, which I think is awesome. It's surprisingly lighter than it looks. Like I feel like before it came out, there was some concerns about the design of it, at least like the position of the buttons. But it's actually pretty nice. Yeah, a lot of cool things you can do with the Steam Deck. Um, I haven't
Morgan,
played anything graphically intensive on it though, like I've tested Don't Starve. It's pretty good.
I think that's the nice thing about it. Like you say, though, like the Steam has this library of not only AAA games, but a deep library of indie titles as well, which is awesome. And just anecdotally, I was flying back from Vegas recently, and I saw several people on the flight playing Steam Decks, which I think speaks to the portability that you mentioned. It's kind of like the Wii U gamepad for me, in that it looks like it would be the weight of a brick, but it's really light. And you mentioned this, but I was just curious. I always thought the face buttons kind of looked like they were going to fall over the side almost, but are those comfortable to use? They feel good?
They do kind of have that appearance, like especially with like it's kind of hard to see my camera's a little like thing,
Oh
but they
yeah, I
are a little
see.
close
Yeah.
to the edge. So that can be a little weird. I guess it depends on what you're playing. Like if you're really needing the buttons that are on the edge, it's kind of nice to have that roll to it.
Mhm.
But yeah, it depends. It's an interesting design. It works better than it looks like it should work, especially with like the thumbsticks being like parallel, but
Oh
it
yeah.
actually isn't too uncomfortable. So I think I will give it to the Steam Deck for its design. It doesn't look like it would work, but it works really well, surprisingly. And it's like lighter than the Switch OLED too, which I've noticed,
Oh,
which is kind of
Oh,
interesting by like a lot for me. Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool that we're at that point now where you can have handheld PC gaming. I mean, obviously there are some like restrictions to that.
Or
But
it's a PC, right? Like you're gonna jump through hoops, whether you're on a tower or a laptop or a handheld. But that flexibility, Blake, you might remember this. I know that for like a while, like 10 years ago, form factor PCs really became a thing. Like you could buy a PC that looked like a GameCube, it even had a handle on it. You could buy
Yeah.
a PC that looked like a Wii, but those were only portable in the sense that they were still traditional PC hardware, right? You still need to plug it into a monitor. But I think it's just so damn cool that there's actually a handheld PC. Like it sounds so trite, like wow, handheld PC, but it's the person I one of the people, she was on the seat kind of in front of me into one side, and she was actually playing Elden Ring offline. I'm like, wow, like Elden Ring on a handheld, like that's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I think
The handheld indie gaming machine used to be a niche that was filled by the PSP. And we
right.
haven't really had anything like it since. Nintendo tried with the Switch, but those analog sticks on the Joy-Cons just don't feel as good. And
I mean, I would argue that the Nintendo Switch has been extremely successful with indies, and that's why the Steam Deck got made.
it works
has.
great. Like,
Yeah.
and it serves that purpose well. But like in terms of like feel, like those Joy-Cons don't feel as good to me as like what Valve has put into the Steam Deck. Like,
yeah, but that's
feel like
also
those
very
guys-
subjective, right? That's a person to person thing. So there's
So-
going to be folks that believe completely the opposite of that.
You're right about that, Bill, but the drift on the Joy-Con is ridiculous, and I haven't heard about that being a problem. It could, right? Like there's already drift people are reporting on a DualSense, so it could happen. And again, I love my Switch. It certainly has a great head start. But when you think about the Steam Deck in terms of Steam, that has the biggest head start out of any active platform on the market right now. So you have this huge well of games to pull from, even deeper than Switches, which is pretty surprising because it seems like there are like 3,000 titles added to the eShop a week or something.
Yeah, I think the thing about this is I feel like the Switch and the Steam Deck are like two completely different things in general. Like and I feel like they're pushed towards a different market, but I also think that if Nintendo didn't start cutting in on Steam's indie market sales, that they probably wouldn't have been pushed to make the Steam Deck. But I also don't see it as a Switch killer or anything like that, though. I think that's kind of
No, I mean, I think I actually no. I don't see it as a Switch killer, but I think you make an excellent point. Like if there's one thing Nintendo has done as far back as the NES, it has pushed other hardware companies to up their game to kind of try to get in on what Nintendo's doing here. And like this is a good thing because again, I love my Switch, but there are certain games that just won't run on Switch. They just won't, but they will run on the Steam Deck, and I think that's really cool.
And
Yeah.
I do want to bring up something that David said about the stick drift. That was a thing on the Steam Deck, and you know what happened? They fixed it. That's
they
one
actually
thing
fixed it.
That's one thing that I want to speak to that I am very impressed with the Steam Deck is there's a very strong difference in philosophy between Valve support and Nintendo support. Nintendo kind of moves based on what they want to do, and player input might have some say
Well,
in that, but not nearly.
When they're on
a
top of the
significant
industry,
amount.
they don't give a fuck.
Nintendo
That's just the truth,
Valve has operated very closely with its community to give them what they want with the Steam Deck, and that includes addressing problems as they're brought up to them. Stick drift was one of those things that came up within the first couple months of the thing launching, and it was addressed in a firmware update. Like I think maybe 2 to 3 months after.
I think we're getting like we're now talking about, and I don't think it's necessary. The Switch didn't come out this year, and it's not in the running for best hardware. So I don't know why we're like. I know that we do this in media and games media. We could like to compare things, but we could just focus on why we like the Steam Deck and not try to like measure it against the Switch because again, like the Switch isn't running in the category this year, and it would obviously be quite the debate if it was. But the Steam Deck is kind of standing on its own in terms of like what we like or don't like about it instead of like what we like about it versus the Switch. I just don't think it's really relevant.
I'll talk about some
I
of the
see
stuff.
your point there, and we don't want to go on a tangent. I think it only caught up because this exists because of the Switch, like we said, right? So there
That's
bound to be
fair.
some parallels there. Yeah.
The bottom line of what I was trying to say was that I am very impressed with how much Valve has supported and updated and fixed things as they've gone along with this product.
I'll say stuff
Right.
that, like, when I played at my friend's house and based on Austin's reviews, it weighs twice as much as a Nintendo Switch, which is kind of. I found it a little bit heavy, and then I have and this is like subjective. I have long fingers, and it's very uncomfortable with the button placement if you have long hands. And the same way with the Switch too, but I mean, like, it was really uncomfortable for me, and the battery life doesn't last very long, so that was a big thing for me too. I think it's a good beta hardware test, but it's got some growth to do for sure.
I wonder
Yeah,
if the sorry, Blake. I was just
oh.
going to say, I wonder if the battery life could be improved. Like PC games have graphic settings, right? So I wonder if you fiddle with those, maybe that gets you more battery life. Just like on Switch when I'm using
Yeah.
portable, I turn the brightness down, right? Because I want the battery to last longer.
And like different games use more power than others, like it varies. But I think I played for about an hour and 25 minutes before I needed to charge, and that was pretty short, I thought. But I mean, if you're playing it on the couch, just leave it plugged in, I guess.
Yeah, well, the first like portable laptop PCs were like massive, heavy suitcases.
That's
right?
true.
They were big, clunky, like concrete bricks. And I kind of feel like the Steam Deck is starting off a little bit like that. It's more of, this is a prototype, this is a proof of concept, and it honestly is probably gonna, like, I can't really think of like what they have. What other hardware has Valve been extremely successful with?
No, not a lot. They abandon their stuff really quickly when it doesn't work.
Just the point of clarification that I've looked up right now, the Steam Deck is absolutely heavier than all of the Nintendo Switch models.
Yeah.
Like I just did the measurement, like I looked at the specs and it did, like, not that it matters. I think the Steam Deck is still like my pick for hardware, but for clarification and accuracy, it is heavier than every model of the Switch.
Yeah, that's what I would expect. And I think, to Blake's point, we see this with console hardware, right? Like, look at the difference between the OG Xbox and the 360, and then the 360 they ended up with, or the Xbox One, which was the size of a VCR from the 1980s, or even the DS to the DS Lite. Like, the Lite was so much sleeker, and I feel like that'll probably happen with the Steam Deck as well, I would think, because they're obviously shooting for that portable market, and they're going to want to make that hardware as sleek as possible. I'm looking at Morgan's right now, and like the profile at least is I mean, it is a portable PC, and there are going to be some trade-offs with that.
Purely being able to tap into my Steam library on the run without having to drag around a laptop is huge.
Yeah.
I think if travel's ever a thing again, that's going to be my buy-in, right? And I mean, I kind of want a Steam Deck already. I don't necessarily see myself using it in my home much. But once travel picks up, like, I would be down 100%, because I think that's really, like, being able to play some PC games on the run would be very cool. Yeah. I mean, it's the same reason that I would take my Switch when I travel. So
Right.
All right, and with that, do we have any other nominations, or shall we put it to a vote?
I think we can.
All right, let's put this to a vote. All right, let's see, Steve, where are you putting your vote?
I'm going with the Steam Deck.
All right, David, where are you putting your vote?
I will go with the Steam Deck.
All right, Denny.
I'm going with the Victrix.
All right, one for the Victrix. Fair enough, Donovan.
Steam Deck.
All right, and Greg Burkleton Burke. Are you sticking with your 4090?
No, TJ convinced me the Victrix was actually a pretty cool idea, so I'll swing my vote to the Victrix.
All right, TJ, are you sticking with the Victrix?
Sure am.
Okie dokie, Ozzy.
I'm gonna say a Steam Deck.
Morgan, holder of the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
We'll be voting for the Steam Deck. Bill Lavoie.
I'm Steam Deck.
Steam Deck all the way. Sam.
Steam Deck, thanks, mate.
All right. Well,
we have another vote, Blake.
Oh, we do.
We do. Asif also voted for the Steam Deck.
Beautiful. And with that, it brings the massive total of Steam Deck 8, Victrix Pro 3, making Steam Deck this year, 2022's best hardware here at Shack News. The gavel has gavelled.